Imagine a jutsu that's so cunning that it doesn't just send out your thoughts, it also potentially hijacks them. A technique so refined that it doesn't just replicate the power of the Yamanaka clan's famed Mind Transmission Jutsu, but instead it evolves them. Well, welcome to the next evolution of the ninja arts, courtesy of Inojin Yamanaka. In the latest chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 27, we learn that Inojin is not only capable of a new jutsu to avenge the death of Himawari, but that this technique is explicitly described as being backward compatible, thus making it superior to the Mind Transmission Jutsu. That's right, I'm using backward compatible, not superior, because both of these things mean the same thing. Backwards compatible means it builds on the old, it surpasses it, but it is still rooted in its predecessor. Like, let's use gaming examples. PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible with the majority of PlayStation 4 games. Xbox Series X is compatible with Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox games, but those systems are more powerful. Inojin's new jutsu is going to be more powerful. Just like a jutsu being superior to a parent jutsu is the same thing. The Rasen Shuriken is still a Rasengan. It just has something else added on top of it. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, is gonna unpack exactly what this new jutsu could be, how his white mage gaming role that Inojin had in Masashi Kishimoto's original script for Boruto the movie gives us a thematic clue towards this jutsu, a potential clue, and why Kashin Koji says they need this ability to defeat Mimushi. Strap in, boys and girls, because we're gonna be diving deep. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out the chapter review for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 27 and my new My Dress Up Darling video from my Anime Explained channel, where I discuss non-Naruto anime and manga. Both will be linked in the description box and the end credits for your convenience. So let's just get right to it. The Yamanaka clan and the Mind Transmission Jutsu, and Inojin building on top of it. So let's revisit the foundation for the jutsu itself. The Yamanaka clan's signature jutsus are the Mind Transfer Jutsu and the Mind Transmission Jutsu. So the Mind Transmission Jutsu allows the user to establish mental telepathy with another shinobi to send out and receive thoughts. They can also send out images, and they can also send out memories. It is a support type jutsu. It's not meant to be brute strength, but instead is about information, it's about communication, and it's about infiltration. In past arcs, the Yamanaka, they've used this to coordinate team attacks, also infiltrate enemy minds, relay intel, even turn the enemy's senses against them depending on what jutsu they use. Its strength that lies in being subtle. Now fast forward to chapter 27 of 2 Blue Vortex. Inojin is told that the jutsu he came up with in order to avenge Himawari will be backward compatible / superior to his clan's technique. In other words, it retains all the prior functionality and it adds new capabilities. Backward compatibility here means that you can still do everything the old jutsu could, and then more. That's where the word superior is not an accident in the official translation. So the big question is, what's more? What more would it take to turn a support / communication tool into a technique that's potent enough to serve a huge role against a threat like Mimushi, who can split himself into infinite clones? Well, let's explore that by looking at how Inojin, being a white mage in Kishimoto's original script for Boruto the movie, might play a thematic role here. So in that video game that Boruto and Shikadai are playing with Inojin, Inojin's character class was a white mage. Why does that matter? Because in gaming archetypes and in narrative symbolism, a white mage is more than a healer. Let's dig into that deeper. In RPGs, a white mage is a support specialist, healing allies, buffing allies, removing debuffs, preserving the party itself. Sometimes they have limited offensive power. The emphasis on those characters is about utility, protection, and manipulation of the battlefield indirectly, the battlefield situations. Now let's apply all that to Inojin. He's not built to go toe-to-toe with powerhouses like Boruto, Kawaki, or Mimushi. His strengths, they're all about perception. The Yamanaka clan's mind techniques in the support roles. He does have Sai's ink painting jutsu, but nobody thinks that's going to do anything major serious unless he's able to combine something Sai has with that jutsu with the Mind Transmission Jutsu. Don't rule it out. But the White Mage gaming identity is a clever thematic signal. His power is likely going to be indirect but pivotal. So when he develops a new jutsu backward compatible with Mind Transmission, we might expect it to inherit the support and utility framework and then surpass it. Think, instead of just sending thoughts or images, that White Mage evolution might lead to manipulation of minds, planting suggestions, controlling perception, basically make you see things that aren't truly there. But it's not like genjutsu. And given the vengeance angle, Himawari's death being avenged in another timeline, the emotional fuel might push that jutsu into something darker, more aggressive in terms of a domain. Control, infiltration, subtle psychological warfare, rather than just being used for communication purposes. Furthermore, if we look at White Mage symbolism in both broader spiritual traditions, healing, purification, light, guidance, we might see Inojin using a support jutsu that has offensive capability, because this is a technique that was born out of loss. So it makes sense that it also has offensive firepower. Something like a mind infiltration, mind control support, something like planting false images where someone like Mimushi, who is going to be extremely simple-minded when he uses a bunch of those clones, that's going to make them easier to manipulate. That's going to make it a lot easier to get them all into one area, the way that Kashin Koji said they needed to do. Get them all in one area and then take them down with one hit. This is how you do that. So let's go further into this. Why this jutsu was needed against Mimushi. So Mimushi having that jutsu has now basically made Inojin go through the same experience that Boruto did. He has a Jiraiya clone that is telling him, use this jutsu, it's going to be very important. This is how future you did it, and now he's about to learn it. Because Mimushi can split himself into infinite clones in large numbers, it sacrifices intelligence, and basically it makes him into your average Reddit / TikTok person that criticizes Boruto and doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. So imagine if you fight Mimushi the usual way. A direct attack, one-on-one duels. You'll be overwhelmed by the sheer numbers. You may kill one, you may kill two, you may kill 10 clones, but dozens more just keep popping up. You can't track them all via standard sensory methods. They're flooding the battlefield. You can't rely on soul power because they're all just as powerful as the original Mimushi. That's where Inojin having an evolved jutsu might come in handy. If he can establish a mental link or a mental target, perhaps he can bypass that swarm by attacking the mind space directly. Again, it's Mind Transmission Jutsu being built on. If Mind Transmission can implant images and memories and transfer thoughts between people, there has to be an offensive version of it. Kashin Koji explicitly said they need whatever Inojin's new jutsu is in order to defeat Mimushi. That's a major hint. This isn't just a nice optional power. Instead, it is a critical power. So putting it all together, Inojin's support type background, his Yamanaka heritage, potentially something to do with Sai's ink painting jutsu, and his White Mage hint, and the unique enemy challenge. It all points towards a jutsu that is designed to turn the challenge of quantity into a weakness via something to do with mental capacity. If you can't outblast Mimushi outright, you might have to outthink him and then do it. Now, personally, just looking at how the Yamanaka clan stuff works, there are a few things that I do think that you could consider, but only one of these, or rather two of these, are what I'm kind of putting my hat on as possibilities. So the first one is a little boring. Basically, you have telepathic networking. It's the baseline backward compatibility that we already know. It retains all the classic Mind Transmission Jutsu stuff with the mental link and the message passing, the memory and image sharing between users. This is backward compatible. Support team communication. That's all boring. Nobody wants that. The same thing with deep memory thought access, where You can reach into enemy target's mind and you can share memories. Maybe you build on that and you're able to scan for hidden thoughts and emotional triggers from a distance. Basically what Inojin Yamanaka did when he was reading memories, only this would be something done at a distance. That sounds cool, but I don't see how that helps. It's these next two that I do think is something a little bit more potent. Suggestion and implementation. If Inojin is able to implant suggestions, illusions, false memories into his target's mind, if a clone thinks that it's seeing the real Ada running into a store, he's going to chase after it, and all the Hive members are going to chase after it as well. That would narratively fit the support role of a white mage. He's basically debuffing an already buffed up character who is an idiot. Then the other one is the Hive mind fracture. Mimushi, we were told, the original body at some point is going to swarm with the others. They all share Mimushi's power, but they all share Mimushi's fear of Jura as well on an instinctual level. That means that there is a hive effect. Maybe Inojin has something where he is able to disrupt that hive effect. This matters for Inojin and the story, whatever the power itself is going to be. This is a meaningful development for Inojin's character, as well as the broader narrative of the Boruto world. For Inojin's character growth, Inojin has been a support type character that hasn't really done anything. He's only now contributing to the story. The white mage hint that Kishimoto dropped in the original movie script, it's symbolic of his niche, not brute force, but essential utility, giving him a jutsu that fits his niche and gives him a front row. It is basically character nice and specific. The vengeance motivation for Himawari's death in a future timeline, it gives emotional weight. He's not just learning because power up. He's learning because he has to protect someone he cares for. That gives the jutsu narrative significance. From a story arc perspective, it also holds weight. The villain challenge is Mimushi. This is something set up to be uniquely suited to be a non-brute force solution. It demands strategy, mind games, infiltration, support type. This could raise the stakes. It changes how conflicts operate. It basically goes back towards being traditional ninja stuff, using trickery and deception. It also will add further deepening to the Yamanaka clan's relevance in this generation. Instead of being sidelined, they become central to beating a major threat. The backward compatible, thus being superior framing, that is strong storytelling. It honors legacy, the Yamanaka clan's mind transmission jutsu, while innovating for the next generation. That is why in the opening of the video, I compared it to the Rasen Shuriken. Rasen Shuriken at the end of the day is a Rasengan. It builds on a jutsu Minato made, just like Inojin is building on a hidden jutsu of his clan. This ties into the major meta theme of the Naruto franchise. Old generation versus new generation, generational shift, as well as taking jutsu that were passed down to you and finding a way to make it your own. Naruto added win release for multiple versions of the win release Rasengan. It's more than just Rasen Shuriken. And now Inojin is taking the mind transmission jutsu and he's adding something new to it to make it his own jutsu. Inojin's new jutsu being backward compatible with the Yamanaka clan's mind transmission jutsu, meaning that it includes old functionality but adds new capabilities, hence being superior. And that threat of Mimushi, the infinite clones and the division ability, it demands unconventional tactics and a jutsu that is tailor-made for warfare. I personally love the direction that this is going, adding new layers to a character that nobody cared about outside of like one or two fans and making them more relevant. I'm curious to know what you guys think. In the meantime, click here to check out that chapter review or click here to check out that My Dress Up Darling video that I mentioned earlier. And as always, remember, Senju DNA is love, Senju DNA is life.